The station was quiet. Too quiet. The human technician Daniel walked slowly through the long metallic corridor, carrying a small toolbox in his hand. His job was simple: fix broken lights and make sure the old systems kept running. Tonight, something felt different. The shadows stretched longer than usual, and the silence pressed against his ears like a heavy blanket. As he reached the last section of the corridor, he stopped. There it was again, a sound. At first he thought it was the station's pipes, hissing. But no, this sound was soft, trembling, and painfully human-like. It was the sound of someone crying. Daniel froze. He was the only human scheduled in this. Part of the station? Who could it be? Slowly he followed the faint sobs, his boots clicking lightly on the metal floor. Each step made his heart pound faster. The sobs grew louder as he turned a corner. Then he saw something that made him stop in shock in the dim light. A young alien girl sat curled up against the wall, her hands covering her face. She was unlike any alien he had seen before. Her skin glowed faintly, shifting color between soft silver and pale blue. Long strands of hair flowed like liquid metal over her shoulders. Tears fell from her eyes, and every drop sparkled as it touched the ground. Breath caught. Her tears weren't ordinary. They glowed like tiny stars. The girl suddenly raised her head, and her eyes locked onto his. They were large, bright, and filled with fear. For a second, both of them froze, he in surprise, she in terror. "You," she whispered, her voice breaking. Then louder, with trembling desperation, "You've seen too much, human." Daniel took a step back, confusion rushing through him. I didn't mean to," he began, but the girl cut him off. Her tears streamed faster now, glowing brighter. Her voice shook as she said, "If my brothers find out, if they know you saw me like this, they will kill you." Daniel blinked, trying to process her words. Kill him? Just because he saw her crying? He wanted to believe it was an exaggeration, but the fear in her voice told him otherwise. "Wait," Daniel said carefully, raising his hands in peace. "I don't understand." "Why would they?" "You don't understand because you are human?" she cried, her words sharp but filled. "With sorrow, my people, my family, weakness is forbidden. Tears are shame. And you," she pointed a trembling finger at him, "you saw everything." The corridor seemed to shrink around them. Silence was heavy, broken only by her sobs and the faint hum of the station's machinery. Daniel wanted to help her, but every word he tried to form felt useless. Then suddenly she leaned forward, her glowing eyes filled with panic and desperation. "There is only one way now," she said in a trembling voice. "One way you can live." Daniel's heart thudded harder. "What way?" Her lips trembled. "You must marry me." The words hit him like a shockwave. For a moment, he thought he had misheard. "Mary? Did you really say Mary?" He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. His mind raced. Had come here to fix a broken light. And now he was standing in front of a glowing alien girl demanding marriage at the edge of life and death. The girl clenched her fists. Her tears slowed, but her voice remained sharp with fear. "If my brothers know, they will come for you. They will not stop until your blood stains these walls. But if you bond with me, if you become my mate, they cannot harm you. It is the law." Daniel's breath shook. He didn't know if this was some cruel trick, or if this girl truly believed what she was saying.
"Oh."
But the look in her eyes, the Ratera told him she was deadly serious. Before he could respond, a new sound reached his ears. Heavy footsteps echoed down the far corridor. Multiple footsteps. Slow, strong, dangerous. The girl's eyes widened, and she grabbed Daniel's wrist with surprising strength. "It's them," she whispered harshly. "My brothers." Daniel's stomach tightened. He wanted to run, but the girl's grip anchored him. Her voice turned into a desperate plea. "Please, human," she begged softly, tears glowing brighter. "Say yes if you don't. They will tear you apart." The footsteps grew louder. Shadows appeared on the wall ahead. Daniel's mind spun. He stood frozen between two impossible choices. Accept the alien girl's shocking demand. or face whatever doom her brothers carried in their steps. The air thickened with tension. Every second felt stretched into eternity. The glowing tears on the floor flickered like tiny stars, marking the weight of her desperate words. And then her voice broke once more, shaking with both hope and fear. "Marry me or die." The corridor lights flickered above them, as if the station itself was holding its breath, waiting for Daniel's answer. Asterisk, the footsteps grew closer. Daniel's heartbeat thumped like a drum inside his chest. The alien girl's grip on his wrist was iron tight, her glowing tears leaving faint streaks on his sleeve. "Quickly," she whispered, pulling him toward a hidden panel in the wall. Her movements were frantic but precise, as if she had done this before. With a soft hiss, the panel slid open, revealing a narrow maintenance shaft. Daniel hesitated for a split second, but the sound of armored boots striking metal pushed him forward. The girl tugged him inside, and the panel closed behind them, shutting out the dim light of the corridor. Inside the cramped shaft, the only glow came from her skin. The shifting colors painted the walls in waves of silver and pale blue. Daniel could hear her breathing fast, almost trembling. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The only sound was the muffled footsteps of the brothers searching outside. Finally, Daniel whispered, "Who are you?" Her head lowered. For the first time, she seemed ashamed to answer. "My name is Lyra," she said softly, "daughter of the Quran clan, blood of warriors, sister to those who now hunt you." Daniel tried to keep his voice calm. Why are they hunting me? Just because I saw you cry?" Her luminous eyes snapped up to his, filled with pain. "Do not understand. Our law, to cry is weakness. Weakness is disgrace. And disgrace must be erased." Daniel's mouth went dry. Erased, meaning killed. She nodded, her lips trembling. "If they discover you witnessed my shame, they will end you without hesitation. To them, you are not human. You are evidence. Evidence of dishonor." Words sank deep into him. Evidence of dishonor. He was no longer a man fixing lights. He was a threat to their entire family pride. "But why marriage?" Daniel asked carefully. "Why would that protect me?" Her tears slowed, but her gaze stayed locked on him. "Because of the bond. Our clan honors only strength and loyalty. A maid is sacred, untouchable. If you marry me, if you take the bond, then I can shield you. No brother, no warrior can spill the blood of my chosen." Daniel shook his head. In disbelief, "This is madness. We barely met. How can you even ask this?" Lyra's voice cracked, desperate but steady. "Because I have no choice, and neither do you." Outside, the footsteps stopped.
Oh.
The silence was worse than the sound. The brothers were close, listening, waiting. Lyra leaned closer, her glowing hair brushing against his shoulder. "Listen to me, human. If you walk away, you will not survive. My brothers can smell fear. They can hear the tremble in your breath. You cannot hide from them. But with me, you have a chance." Her words wrapped around him like chains. He wanted to deny it, to laugh it off, but her eyes, bright and burning, held nothing but truth. Daniel swallowed hard. "And if I refuse?" Her hand tightened painfully on his wrist. "Then the next sound you hear will be your bones breaking." Silence deepened. A low rumble echoed through the shaft as if the station itself groaned under the weight of their choice. For a long moment, Daniel stared at her. She was trembling. Yes, but behind her fear was something else. Strength. A strength she had to hide because of cruel traditions. Finally, he whispered, "Tell me the truth. Why were you crying?" Her breath caught. The question seemed to strike deeper than any threat. She lowered her gaze, her silver skin dimming. "I was crying," she said slowly, "because I am not like them. I was born different. My emotions are not silent, they shine." She touched her cheek, where a faint glow still lingered. "Every time I feel, the whole world can see it. My brothers call me broken, a curse. I hide, I lie, but sometimes it breaks me. Tonight it broke me." Daniel felt a strange weight in his chest. Pity? Anger? Maybe both, and I saw it. He whispered, "Yes." Her voice cracked. saw my shame, and that means you must share my fate." Outside, a loud clang rang against the corridor wall. One of the brothers snarled, "We know you're here, Lyra. Come out before we tear this station apart." Daniel's blood turned cold. He looked at her, at the fear in her glowing eyes, and realized he had seconds to decide. Lyra leaned close, her words urgent, almost pleading. "Say yes. Take the bond. I can protect you. Without it, you are already dead." The shaft shook as heavy fists slammed against the panel outside. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Daniel's heart raced. He was cornered by a choice he never wanted: bind himself to an alien girl he had just met, or face the rage of her warrior brothers. Her final words were almost a whisper, but they cut through the pounding in his ears like a blade. "Choose now. Human, be my mate, or be their prey." The panel groaned, seconds from breaking open. Daniel clenched his fists, his mind screaming, his chest burning with fear, and in that suspended moment, the world waited for his answer. The metal panel shook under the furious pounding. Dust and sparks fell from the edges as Lyra's brothers forced their way closer. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears louder than the strikes. He knew the barrier would not last long. Lyra's glowing eyes locked onto his. They were wet with tears, but behind them burned something stronger, desperate fire. "Decide," she hissed. "Now, do you want life or death?" Daniel's throat went dry. His mind raced, fighting against the impossible demand. He had only come here to fix lights. He was no warrior, no hero, just a man with a toolbox and tired hands. And now this. Girl was asking him to marry her, to take part in some alien ritual that would change his life forever. "Marry you?" he whispered in disbelief. "We don't even know each other. I don't know who you are. You know enough." Lyra shot back, her voice cracking with urgency. "You saw my weakness. That makes you part of my fate. If you refuse, my brothers will kill you, and me with you. They will erase us both." The pounding grew louder. Daniel could hear guttural voices growling through the walls. "Lyra, open this door. Who is with you? We smell him human blood." Daniel's chest tightened. They already knew. There was no time left. He shook his head, panic rising. "This is insane. I can't just..." Lyra grabbed his face in her trembling, hands forcing his eyes to meet hers. Her touch was warm, glowing faintly. Her voice dropped to a whisper, desperate but steady. "You think marriage is only love? For my people, it is survival. The bond is a shield, a chain, a wall they cannot break. Once you are mine, no one can harm you, not even them." Daniel's thoughts spun like a storm. Could he trust her? Or was this some kind of trick, a trap? To bind him forever? He wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. The pounding shook the shaft so violently he feared the whole wall might collapse. He closed his eyes for a moment, searching for clarity.
Ow!
He saw was her face, glowing, pleading. "Why me?" he finally asked, his voice breaking. For the first time, Lyra paused. Her lips trembled. "Because you saw me cry," she whispered. "Because you saw the truth no one else is allowed to see. And because how you looked at me, not with disgust, not with mockery, but with compassion. That is enough. More than enough." Her words cut deeper than he expected. Compassion. In her world, something as simple as pity was rare, maybe even forbidden. The panel cracked. A glowing line split down the middle as the brothers forced it open. The hiss of their weapons filled the air. Lyra pressed her forehead against his, glowing tears slipping down her cheeks. "Say the word, human. Accept me, or we both die tonight." Daniel's heart raced, torn between instinct and reason. If he said yes, he risked being trapped in a life he couldn't imagine. If he said no, his blood would soon stain the station. Floridot, the brothers roared, the wall giving way inch by inch. Daniel could already see the burning red glow of their weapons leaking through the cracks. In that moment, time seemed to freeze. He thought of Earth, of quiet nights, of simple jobs, fixing broken wires. He thought of the unfairness of it all, that his future now balanced on the fragile word yes or no. He opened his mouth. Before he could speak, the panel exploded inward, shards of metal flying. 3 towering figures stormed in, their armor gleaming, their eyes burning with hatred. They filled the shaft like shadows of death. "There he is," one growled. His voice was like thunder. "The human who dares witness our sister's shame." Daniel stumbled back, his breath caught in his throat. But Lyra stepped in front of him, arms spread wide. Her voice was small but unshakable. "He is mine." The brothers froze, stunned by her declaration. Silence filled the shaft, heavy and dangerous. Their glowing eyes narrowed, flicking between Lyra and the trembling human behind her. "You dare claim him?" the eldest snarled. "A human? Weak flesh? Shameful match?" Lyra's glowing tears shimmered as they fell, but her voice did not waver. "Yes, I dare. He is my bond, my mate." The brothers' growls deepened, vibrating through the walls. One raised his weapon, but the eldest lifted a hand, stopping him. "If you speak truth," the eldest said darkly, "then the law binds us all. But he must prove it. He must show he is worthy, or he dies." Daniel's blood ran cold. He had escaped one death, only to face another. The eldest brother leaned closer, his monstrous face lit by the glow of Lyra's tears. "Human, the choice is made. But now comes the trial." Asterisk. The air inside the broken shaft turned heavy. Sparks flickered from the shattered panel, throwing sharp light across the steel walls. The 3 alien brothers stood like shadows made of iron, their glowing eyes fixed on the trembling human behind Lyra. Daniel's pulse thudded so loudly he thought they could hear it. He had never seen creatures like this before. Each one was taller than him by at least a head, their armor black with streaks of crimson glowing through ancient scars. Their faces were harsh, with sharp ridges running across their foreheads and jaws built to crush stone. They looked less like men and more like living weapons. The eldest brother stepped forward, his heavy boots echoed like thunder. "So, is true?" he growled, his voice vibrating through the narrow space. "Our sister dares to bond with this fragile thing." Lyra stood firm, though Daniel could see her shoulders trembling. She spread her arms wider, shielding him. "He is mine. The bond is claimed. You cannot harm him," second brother snarled, his teeth flashing in the dim light. "A human? Weak, soft, a shameful choice. You stain our clan with your tears, sister, and now you stain it with this." Daniel's stomach tightened. He wanted to speak, to defend himself, but his throat locked shut. Every instinct screamed at him to run, but Lyra's presence held him in place. The eldest brother lowered his head, studying Daniel with eyes like molten stone. "If the bond is real, then the law binds us. We cannot kill him." His voice turned sharp as a blade. "But the law demands proof, a trial." Daniel's heart sank. A trial. He had no idea what that meant, but the way the brothers spoke, it sounded worse than death. Lyra's hand found his, glowing faintly against his skin. "Do not be afraid," she whispered quickly. "The law is cruel, but it also binds them. As long as you fight, they cannot kill you outright." Her words brought little comfort. The third brother, younger, but no less terrifying, leaned forward, his voice dripping with hatred. "Do you hear that, human? You must fight. You must bleed. If you fail, the bond breaks, and you both die." Angel's chest tightened. He wanted to shout that he wasn't a fighter, that he fixed wires and circuits, not people. But before he could speak, the eldest brother barked a command. "Take them." The 2 younger brothers grabbed Daniel by his arms. Their grips were like steel, crushing his muscles, dragging him from the shaft into the open corridor. His boots scraped against the floor as they hauled him forward. Lyra followed, her glowing tears falling silently, but her face set with determination. The corridor was darker here, lit only by the dull red glow of alien symbols etched into the walls. Daniel's fear grew with every step. He could feel the hatred radiating off the brothers, hear their armor grind with every move. They stopped at a wide chamber deep in the station. The walls curved into a dome, filled with strange carvings and flickering lights. The center lay a circle of black stone, ancient and cracked, glowing faintly with alien energy. The eldest brother pointed toward it. "The Trial of Shadows," He will stand here. Daniel's throat went dry. Trial of shadows? What does that mean? The second brother grinned cruelly. It means you prove yourself or die screaming. They shoved him forward into the circle. His knees almost buckled, but he forced himself to stay upright. Lyra rushed to his side, her glowing hand pressing against his arm. You can do this, she whispered, though her voice trembled. Trust yourself. Trust me. The eldest raised a heavy weapon, its blade shimmering with light. He struck the ground, and the carvings on the walls flared to life, bathing the chamber in a red glow. Shadows twisted, crawling across the floor like living things. Daniel's breath caught as he realized the shadows weren't natural. They stretched too long, moved too fast, like predators circling prey. The eldest's voice echoed through the chamber. The human will face the trial. The shadows will test his strength, his courage, his will to survive. If he stands, the bond holds. If he falls, his blood and hers will mix on these stones. The shadows shifted closer, whispering across the ground, reaching for him. Daniel stumbled back, his heart pounding. He looked at Lyra, panic in his eyes. I can't fight shadows. Her glowing tears shone brighter as she gripped his hand. You are human. You adapt. That is your strength. Use it. The shadows lunged. Cold tendrils shot up from the floor, wrapping around his legs like icy ropes. Daniel gasped, trying to kick free, but the more he struggled, the tighter they held. The brothers watched with grim satisfaction. The eldest folded his arms. Let us see if this human is worthy of you, sister, or if he dies as the weak always. Do. Daniel fell to his knees, the shadows clawing at his chest. Panic surged, but deep inside, another voice whispered, survive, think, adapt. His eyes darted to the carvings glowing on the walls, circuits, patterns, symbols, like power lines. The shadows weren't magic, they were energy, and energy could be disrupted. He clenched his fists, forcing calm into his racing heart. If this was a machine, then maybe he could beat it. With the brothers watching, with Lyra's desperate hope burning beside him, Daniel made his first move against the trial of shadows. The shadows tightened around Daniel's body, cold as ice and heavy as stone. Every breath felt harder. His arms strained against the dark coils, but the more he fought, the stronger they became. The alien brothers stood at the edge of the glowing circle, watching with cruel satisfaction. Pathetic, one of them muttered. He will break within minutes. Daniel's mind screamed at him to keep fighting, but brute strength was useless. He was no warrior. His only weapon was his brain. He looked at the carvings again, glowing red against the chamber walls. They pulsed with the same rhythm as the shadows that held him. Each pulse sent the tendrils surging tighter. It wasn't magic, it was a system, a machine built to test fear. He forced himself to breathe. If it's a system, then it can be tricked. Lyra, he gasped, his voice shaking. Do these symbols mean anything? She crouched at the edge of the circle, glowing tears slipping down her cheeks. They are runes of strength. They feed the trial. But why? Because they're connected. Daniel wheezed. He twisted against the shadows, not to escape but to follow the rhythm. He noticed the shadows weakened for a split second between pulses. It's like a current, a pattern. If I move with it, not against it, the next pulse struck. Instead of struggling, Daniel dropped low, twisting his shoulders with the flow. The shadows faltered, just slightly loosening their grip. He lunged sideways, gasping for air. The brothers frowned. What is he doing? Daniel's heart pounded, but for the first time, he felt hope. I can disrupt it, he whispered. He matched his movements with the pulses, rolling, pulling, twisting. Each time, the shadows shifted. Slowly, the coils slipped away from his chest. His breathing grew easier. Lyra's eyes widened. You're breaking it, the brothers snarled. Impossible. No human can endure the trial of shadows. But Daniel wasn't enduring, he was outsmarting it. With one last surge, ripped free from the coils and collapsed onto the black stone floor. Sweat dripped from his forehead, his chest heaving. The shadows hissed, pulling back like smoke. Into the carvings. For a moment, silence filled the chamber. Then the eldest brother growled. He survived, but he has not proven himself yet. Daniel barely had time to catch his breath before the shadows returned, this time sharper, faster, and angrier. They rose high above him, forming jagged blades of darkness. Fear stabbed through. He couldn't outsmart them forever. Lyra rushed forward, pressing her glowing hand against the circle's edge. Energy sparked between her skin and the stones. She cried out in pain but refused to pull back. Daniel's eyes widened. "What are you doing?" Her voice trembled. "Helping you. Our bond is not yet sealed, but I can share my strength. You accept it." The shadows lunged, blades crashing down toward Daniel. Instinctively, he threw up his arms to shield himself. But instead of pain, he felt warmth. A burst of silver light exploded from his skin, forming a barrier that shattered the shadow blades into mist. Gasps filled the chamber. Even the brothers stepped back. Daniel looked at his glowing arms in shock. "What? What just happened?" Lyra's tears shone like stars. "The bond," she whispered. "It has already begun." The brothers growled in rage. No, he cannot form the bond without the right. Out. But it was too late. The glow around Daniel spread, threads of silver light connecting him to Lyra. Every beat of his heart matched hers. For the first time, he felt her presence, not just her hand or her fear, but her thoughts, her pain, her courage inside him. It was overwhelming, terrifying, strangely comforting. Daniel staggered to his feet, his voice steady for the first time. "I may not be one of you. I may not be strong like you. But I will not break. Not while she stands with me." The shadows screamed, swirling like a storm around him. But now, every time they struck, the silver bond flared brighter, burning them away. With each clash, Daniel grew bolder, moving not alone, but as if guided by Lyra's unseen hand. Together, they pushed back the trial of shadows. The chamber shook, carvings cracking under the strain. Finally, with a deafening boom, the last shadow dissolved into nothing. Leaving only silence and smoke, Daniel fell to his knees, exhausted. The silver glow faded, but a faint mark remained on his hand, a symbol like the ones on the walls only. Brighter, etched into his skin. Lyra touched it gently, her voice soft. "The bond mark. It cannot be erased. You are mine. I am yours." The brothers stood in silence, their faces twisted in disbelief and anger. The eldest finally spoke, his voice low and dangerous. "So be it. The bond is formed. By law, we cannot strike him." He leaned closer, his eyes burning into Daniel's. "But know this, human law protects you, but it does not make you worthy. You have only survived the first step, failure, and we will end you both." Daniel swallowed hard, his chest heavy with exhaustion and fear. Yet deep inside he felt something new, an unshakable link to the alien girl beside him. The secret bond was no longer just words, it was real. Alive, and it had changed everything. The chamber still smoked from the shattered shadows. Daniel's lungs burned with every breath, but the silver mark on his hand glowed faintly, a reminder that he was no longer alone. Lyra knelt beside him, her glowing tears falling silently. For the first time, she did not weep from fear, she wept with relief. But the brothers were not satisfied. The eldest stepped forward, his massive frame blotting out the red glow of the carvings. His voice rumbled like thunder. "Shadows bend to you. Human, impressive. But survival is not enough. A bond means strength, loyalty, sacrifice. If you are truly her mate, you must prove it in the deadly trial." Daniel struggled to stand. His legs shook, but Lyra's hand steadied him. "What trial?" he asked, his voice hoarse. The second brother bared his sharp teeth in a cruel grin. "A trial where fear cannot save you? Only courage will." The floor shifted beneath them with a deep rumble. Panels slid open, and the black stone circle split apart. From the cracks, strange machines rose tall metallic constructs, shaped like beasts, their eyes glowing red. Blades and claws jutted from their bodies. They moved with grinding precision, sparks spitting from their joints. Daniel's stomach dropped. You've got to be kidding me. These are the hunters, the eldest declared. Forged from our ancestors' war machines. They feel no pain. They never stop. To stand as her bond, you must endure them. If you fail, they will tear you apart. The hunters spread around the circle, their clawed feet scraping against stone. Lyra clutched Daniel's arm. Her glowing eyes pleaded with him. You cannot fight them with strength. They were built to kill. But remember, you are human.
Oh, you.
Think differently, use that. Daniel swallowed hard. His hands shook, but the bond mark burned faintly, as if urging him forward. He had no sword, no armor, just his wits, his courage, and the strange connection tying him to Lyra. The trial began with a roar. One hunter lunged, its metal claws slashing down. Daniel dove aside, rolling across the floor. Sparks flew where? The claws struck stone, leaving deep scars. Another hunter came from behind, its blade arm slicing through the air. Daniel barely ducked in time, the rush of wind hot against his neck. The brothers watched with cold satisfaction. He will fall. The youngest said, They all fall. But Daniel refused. He scrambled to his feet, eyes darting across the chamber. The hunters moved in perfect rhythm, almost too perfect. His breath quickened, patterns, just like the shadows. Another lunge. He twisted with the flow, the bond mark glowing faintly. Lyra gasped as she felt his thoughts surge through her. For a heartbeat, she understood what he saw. Their joints, she shouted. The weak points are hidden, but I can sense them. Daniel nodded, their bond guiding him. When the next hunter attacked, he dodged low, spotting a flicker of exposed wiring beneath its arm. Without thinking, he grabbed his small toolbox, the only thing he had brought tonight. He swung it hard, smashing the wiring. The hunter screeched, sparks bursting from its arm as it stumbled backward. Daniel gasped. It worked. The second hunter roared, charging at him. But this time he didn't just dodge blindly. He moved with Lyra's guidance, sensing the hidden weakness at its leg joint. He slid beneath it, jamming his wrench into the gears. Machine collapsed with a deafening crash. The brothers' eyes widened. He is, adapting the eldest. Muttered. Daniel panted, sweat dripping down his face. 2 hunters down. But the third loomed, larger and faster than the others. Its blades spun like saws, its eyes glowing brighter. It charged with terrifying speed. Lyra screamed, Daniel! He froze for half a second, fear locking his legs. Then he felt it, her voice, her fear flowing through the bond, and behind it her trust. The mark on his hand blazed. With a roar of his own, Daniel ran straight toward the machine. At the last moment, he dove aside, sliding across the stone floor. His wrench clanged against another joint, sparks showering the chamber. The machine staggered, but didn't fall. Daniel groaned, exhausted. The machine turned on him, blades raised. For the final strike? Then Lyra moved. She pressed her glowing hands to the stone, channeling her energy through the bond. Silver light shot across the floor, up Daniel's arms, into the wrench itself. The tool blazed like a weapon of light. Daniel didn't think he acted. With one final desperate strike, he slammed the glowing wrench into the hunter's chest. The machine screamed, sparks exploding like fireworks. Before collapsing into lifeless metal, silence. The chamber shook one last time, then stilled. All 3 hunters lay broken, smoke rising from their shattered bodies. Daniel dropped to his knees, chest heaving, the glowing wrench falling from his grip. Lyra rushed to him, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. Her tears sparkled as they fell on his skin. You did it, she whispered. You survived. The brothers stared in stunned silence. Yet for the first time their eyes did not burn with pure hatred. The eldest spoke slowly, grudgingly. The deadly trial completed. He stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. By law, he is bound. We cannot deny it. But as he turned away, his final words echoed like a warning. Yet, do not forget, human. Trials prove strength, but trust must be earned. Fail her, and law will not save you next time. Daniel shivered, clutching Lyra tighter. The bond had saved him, but it had also tied him forever to a world where danger never ended. And deep inside, He knew the deadliest trial was yet to come. Asterisk. The chamber was silent except for the faint hiss of smoke rising from the broken hunters. Daniel knelt on the stone floor, every muscle aching, his breath shallow and ragged. His hands trembled, but the glowing mark on his palm still pulsed faintly, a reminder of the bond he now carried. Lyra knelt beside him, her silver-blue skin shimmering softly in the dim red light. She placed her glowing hand over his, their bond, resonating between them. For the first time since they had met, her tears were not born of fear, but of hope. "You survived," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You did what no human should have been able to do." Daniel gave a faint, tired laugh. "I didn't survive alone. We did this together." Her eyes widened at his words, and her glowing tears sparkled brighter. But their moment of peace did not last. The eldest brother stepped forward, his massive shadow falling across them both. His face was unreadable, his glowing eyes cold and sharp. "The trial is complete," he said slowly. "The law binds us. You are her mate now. No blade of ours may touch you." Daniel swallowed hard. He had won their grudging respect, not their love. The second brother spat on the floor, his voice dripping with contempt. "But hear me, human. You may wear the mark, but you will never wear our honor. If you fail her, if you falter even once, no law will save you from us." The third brother leaned close, his teeth bared in a cruel grin. "We will be watching, always." Daniel met, their eyes fear coiling in his chest. But he forced himself to stand, leaning on Lyra for strength. He was exhausted, bruised, and battered, but something inside him had changed. He was no longer just a technician who fixed broken wires. He was bound to something greater, something dangerous, and something worth protecting. Lyra squeezed his hand, her voice steady but soft. "He is mine, and I am his. That is enough." The eldest glared at her, then finally turned away. "Take him, keep him, but remember this, sister bond or not, if he brings you shame, we will finish what the trial could not." With that, the brothers left the chamber, their heavy footsteps echoing into the distance until only silence remained. Daniel exhaled slowly, his knees almost giving out from relief. He looked at Lyra, confusion swirling in his eyes. "I don't understand. Why me? Why risk everything for me?" She touched his cheek, her glowing fingers warm against his skin. "'Cause you saw me, truly saw me. My tears, my weakness, my shame, and you did not turn away. No one in my world has ever done that." Daniel's chest tightened. He remembered the first moment he found her sobbing in the corridor, how fragile she had seemed, how terrified. And now, after everything, she stood stronger than ever because of him. Or maybe because of both of them. Before he could answer, the chamber lights flickered. A deep rumbling sound echoed through the station walls. Lyra's eyes widened, fear flashing across her face. "No," she whispered. "Not now." Daniel frowned. "What is it?" She pulled him close, her voice shaking. "The hunters were only the beginning. The trials are not just tests, they are signals. By defeating them, you awakened the eye of judgment." Daniel's blood ran cold. "The what?" she pointed to. The cracked carvings on the walls, they pulsed again, brighter this time, like a heartbeat growing stronger. The red glow spread, crawling higher until the entire dome shimmered. At the center of the ceiling, a vast, circular, eye-opened ancient machine, glowing with blinding light. Lyra clutched his hand tightly. "The eye belongs to the first ancestors. It watches all bonds. If it judges us false, it will destroy us." Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He had thought the trial was over. He had thought survival meant safety. But now he realized this was only the beginning. The eye's glow intensified, beams of light scanning across them. Daniel felt it piercing into his mind, his soul weighing every thought and every fear. His heart pounded. What if it sees the truth? That I never chose this. That I'm just a man who wanted to survive. Lyra squeezed his hand, sensing his terror through their bond. Her voice was firm, steady, almost commanding. "Do not fear. Trust me. Trust us." The light burned brighter. and Daniel forced himself to stand tall. He thought of the moment he had seen her crying, the moment he had risked everything to help her, the moment he had fought shadows and machines with nothing but courage and hope. He realized then he hadn't just survived for himself. He had survived for her. The eyes' light flickered, pulsing faster, then slowly dimmed. The carving stopped glowing. The dome returned to silence. Lyra gasped in relief, her glowing tears falling freely. It judged us. True. Daniel let out the breath he had been holding, collapsing into her arms. The danger was not gone. The brothers still hated him. And the station itself was filled with threats, but for now. They had passed the ultimate test. Lyra pressed her forehead against his, her glowing eyes soft. You are mine, Daniel. Together, we will face whatever comes. But as the chamber darkened, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that the eye's judgment was not the end. Somewhere in the shadows he sensed new dangers waiting, greater than any trial before, and for the first time he wondered if this bond born from tears and desperation was a gift of fate, or the beginning of a curse.